Hi, I'm Jay with Oakwood Veneer, and in this segment we're going to talk about actual application of the veneer on a substrate. Now, in this material that we're going to use is MDF, and MDF is a very, very stable flat material. And the veneers that we use with MDF will be either the 22 mil paperback, the wood on wood, or the phenolic back material. And the reason being, we're going to use contact cement as the adhesive. And contact cement, while not the absolute best adhesive, is a very, very good adhesive and can be used in the field if you have to apply veneer directly to a substrate and the piece is already built and you can't get it in a press, or devise a method of pressing it in. I have here what's called a gel type contact cement, and you can see it's very, very thick. Almost looks like grease or petroleum jelly. But what's nice, what I like about this and what's nice is it can be applied very, very smoothly to both surfaces, the veneer and the substrate. The difference being from the old standards are the liquid type contact cements, as you roll them out, tend to be very, very lumpy. And any kind of lump that you get in the adhesive below is actually going to telegraph through and create what's called an orange peel effect. And if you take a good look at an orange peel, you see the texture of the surface, well, that's what it'll do to your veneer. And then also for applying the adhesive, it can be brushed, but generally what I like to use is a very, very short nap roller, and this is what's called a mohair roller. And it has about 1/8 of an inch nap to it, so it's very, very smooth, very, very flat. And in applying the adhesive, and this is the very important part, is you want to make sure that you have an adequate glue line. You have 100% coverage on the veneer and 100% coverage on the substrate. And with the gels, it rolls out very well compared to trying to roll with the liquid adhesives. And you want to make sure you get 100% coverage, so you'll roll one surface in one direction. And you also want to roll back perpendicular to the surface to make sure that you have 100% coverage and there are no dry spots. And on the veneer, it's basically the same thing. We're going to apply a coat to the veneer. It's a little messy, but not too bad. And then we'll come back the other direction and make sure that we have our coverage. Now, when using contact cement, you have what's called a tac time. And that tac time allows the adhesive to slightly dry. It's not dry 100%, but it's going to be dry to the touch. Once it's dry to the touch, and there are obviously several ways you could physically touch it. The way I like to do it is to use the back of my arm, let my arm rest on the veneer or the substrate, and if it pulls at the hairs on my arm, I know it's not quite ready yet. Once the two surfaces are dried sufficiently and tacked sufficiently, then we can assemble the pieces. Okay, now that our glue is dried thoroughly, I can feel it's a little tiny bit tacky, but I use the back of my arm and it doesn't grab, so I think we're ready to go. Now, when applying veneer to the substrate, with contact cement, if you're using a large or a regular shaped piece, you'll want to use something to separate the veneer from the substrate while you're positioning it in place. And you could use wooden dowels, just as you would use with plastic laminate, which will keep the veneer elevated off the surface while you position the work. Another trick is to use wax paper. You can apply a sheet or two of wax paper over the surface, set your veneer on, slip the wax paper out, and apply pressure down to hold the veneer. In our case, because we're just working with a small piece, I can pretty much align an edge up and then set the veneer down in place. Now, once the veneer is in place, then I'm going to need a means to smooth it out and make sure that I have good contact. So first we'll set our piece. And then using my hand, I will apply pressure from the center outward to the edges. Now, this is a good start in smoothing it out, but we need to apply more pressure. Now, in the industry, there are tools specifically for smoothing out a laminating surface. One of them, which is used all the time in plastic laminate, is a J-roller. And this is a J-roller here. And you see it has a roughly 1 3/8 diameter rubber roller, and it would be used to smooth out the veneer, or in plastic laminate. For veneering, this is not the ideal tool, and actually can cause you a lot of problems down the way. So this tool for veneer is where that belongs. Now they have specific tools, and this being, actually this is made for applying carpet, but it works perfectly for applying veneer. And they also have what's called a veneer hammer or a veneer scraper. In veneer hammers, you have basically a steel blade with a long hammer handle on it and a means to grip it over the top, and you'll use it to smooth the veneer out. It's used mainly for traditional type veneering when you're using hide glue. With a veneer blade, it's very much similar to this, except for it would just have a longer handle, but I find this tool to be perfect for smoothing out the veneer. And what you want to do is apply pressure from one end to the other, going with the grain. And you need to bear down, because contact cement, by its name, applies contact, and the more contact you have, the better. You can see I have about an 1/8 inch radius here, and if you remember the J-roller I had, the amount of pressure I'm going to get, if it were a 1 inch diameter roller, 1/8 inch diameter, is 8 times more pressure. And so you're going to want to go over that a few times. And as they say, if you're not breaking a sweat, you're not doing it right. And there we have it. No edges coming up. I have a little bit of a trim edge there. When you're cutting the veneer to apply to the substrate, you only need about an 1/8 inch over each edge. So if you cut the veneer, say 1/4 of an inch oversized from the edges, that way you'll have a lot less to trim. And if you're burnishing the veneer and you tend to roll over an edge and you have too much material, you'll literally crack the grain, and that could cause you problems with your finish. So that's how to apply veneer with contact cement.